Hello everybody and welcome to the second episode of Throwback Memories, where I talk about my past life through some stuff that I experienced. So now this is episode 2, and today we will be talking about my first introduction to video games and also hip-hop. So let's begin. Way back in 1985, when the Nintendo first came out, I was very ecstatic that this system was coming out, and back then it was all the hype and it was all the crave about this system. And so then I think around like 1986, when my mom bought the first Nintendo system, the first game that I ever played was Super Mario Brothers. Yes, that came with it. The first Mario game, and that was my first game. And since then, I got hooked. I literally got hooked into games. Games was my passion. And to this day, games still are my passion. And even to this day, I got a whole stacks of games, but not as stacked as back then. See, I had a whole gang of systems and a whole gang of games way before Raspberry Pi, way before the games has gone up in prices, way before everything. Like just everything, and way before people know how to make fake games. It was going to the store and just buying them. So from that point on, I had was a Super Nintendo system, and that was in 1991. I had the Sega, and like that was back in 1989, but like I didn't have it until 1990. I had the Super Nintendo late 91 or 92. I think it was 92 that we had the Super Nintendo. So back then, I was just a kid and I didn't have no money at that time. So the only way to make money is I have to clean up the house and doing all that types of stuff just to earn some money, to earn money from my parents basically. So for that point on, I was saving money just to see which game should I get for that system. So what else happened was I did save money, and I bought Final Fight. That was the first Super Nintendo game that I brought, Final Fight. And that was hands down my favorite game of all time. And I love that game to this day. And that game, it's still fun to this very day. So from that point on, my oldest bro had a PlayStation. You know, he had that back then, you know, back in what, 95 when he first got that. Then I had the Sega Saturn, and that was in 96 by my late uncle, and he also caught me that one. And we always have a debate which one is a better system. So I said the Saturn is good, you know, but even though to this day Saturn games are expensive now, really expensive, but back then those games were really cheap back in the day. Now it's woof, oh my goodness. But sadly the PlayStation 1 and the Saturn lost. So then came the Nintendo 64, and I never owned that. Like I never owned a 64 until 2000. Yeah, I finally bought this a 64 back in 2000, and back then they had the red, the blue, the green, orange, and all that types of cool, fun colors. I chose is the blue one, and since then I love that system. Nintendo 64 is a really great system, but it's not the best. Like, it's not my favorite, but it's still fun. And my favorite game is WWF No Mercy. Yes, I know that's everybody's favorite, but hey, that game was so much fun back then, and yet it's still fun to this very day. So then, as the years went by, my bro copped the PlayStation 2 while I got the Xbox. And I gotta say, I love the Xbox. That was a fun system until the 360 came out, and my expectations went high until my cousin finally got hers. So I basically tried hers out. And sure enough, I was very disappointed about the Xbox 360. So I turned back to Sony. Since then, I brought this the PlayStation 3, where I basically won it. I won a contest of it. So I was lucky that I won that one. So since then, like, I've been rocking with the PlayStation since the PlayStation 3. So now I got a 3, a 4, and I also have the Super Nintendo Classic, and so it's the Sega one and the Nintendo one. Just be playing some old games again. So yeah, so all those throwback stuff that I used to have back in the day. And mind you, I had the Sega Dreamcast too, and I got that back in 2001 when it used to be $100. So yeah, I even copped that too. And I had everything. Even I used to have very rare games back then. I had Final Fight 2 and Final Fight 3. Yes, I had that. I paid $59 back then. That was back in '96 when I first copped that game. You know what I'm saying? Then I had Ninja Gaiden Trilogy. Oh yes, 2000. I paid that game for $10. Yes, games were cheap back then. And you know what? That fucked it all up. The internet, YouTube. Yes, YouTube messed it up for everybody. When you see people filming and say, hey, I got this game and I got it up cheap, and I paid for $2 for it, and then like you see everybody say, what? Yo, let me go find that game. And then people trying to search it for like a great deal, and then like they can't find it, and then all of a sudden you see copies of that same game on eBay goes for a lot of money. So what does that tell you? It's the YouTubers' fault, man, for raising up the video game prices. Like even from back then, Contra on the Nintendo, Contra Force. Back then, that I got that game for $20 back then. Back in the day. Now that game goes for a lot of money now. This is silly. But yeah, I have so much of the very rare games. Now, you might ask me, do I still have those games? No. And here's why. Back in the 2000s, like 2007-ish. Yeah, 2007. That's where I met my ex-girlfriend on MySpace. Yeah, who can remember MySpace? So I'm gonna tell you my MySpace stories in another episode. But anyway, I met her through MySpace and we hit it off. We had a connection, and that's how me and her fell in love. How awesome is that, right? So at that time, I was living with my parents at that time, and she was telling me that I have to move in and I have to move in with her and all that. So I'm like, okay, what can I do? So I didn't have no choice but to sell my games. Yes, I have to sell them off. Again, now mind you, this was back in 2008. Well, most of these games was semi going up, but it wasn't going up to its expectations. The video game prices was still on this side here, not here yet. I really made some good money. So I made about probably, with all those real games, yes, I sold my Nintendo, Super Nintendo, the Sega, and even the Sega CD. Oh my God, I sold it all. The Saturn, the freaking Dreamcast, the 64, like I sold all of that. So all those games, including the very rare games, I made about, this will shock y'all, probably $9,000. Yeah, I was shocked too. I made just about 9,000. That is crazy, huh? Yeah, I mean, I'll tell you one thing, selling those games was not worth it. Because, that relationship, I'll talk about that in my later episodes, but man, the one thing I could say, man, I kind of miss those games, but at the same time I don't, because now we have new technologies now, while you can play the old games through systems, you know, emulators and so much more. Like, you can find a way to go back and just play those old school games. You still can. And I'm not going back. Like, I'm not gonna buy another Nintendo system and all that junk, because now those games are freaking expensive now. It raised up now, and I'm not going back there again. No way, I'm not turning back. That's it. Final. Now those games are very hard to collect, because nowadays people know how to make fake games now, and it's freaking difficult to figure something out, which one is real and which one is not real. See, back in those days, you get to find real copies of a certain game back then. Now it's freaking tough now. Like, I'm not going back. Like, I'm happy the way it is. Look, I got old games saved on my system, so there is no need to worry about it, you know. But at the same time, it felt so good to go back and holding a video game cartridge. It just seems like, man, these are some memories from back in the day. Yeah, so I know what y'all people is going to ask me. No, I am not turning back. I'm gonna stick with my Sony systems. Now, a bonus episode is hip hop. So this, I gotta talk to you about that. My first introduction to hip hop was back in 1985. No, wait, 1986. It's between 85 or 86, so I'm gonna say 85. I was listening to the Fat Boys. That was the first hip hop rap music that I ever listened to, was the Fat Boys. And I thank my two oldest bros. I thank them because they got me into hip hop. As a matter of fact, my first oldest bro, when I was 4, he taught me how to break dance. Yeah, back in those days, back in 1985, when he was showing me how to move, pop, lock it, drop it, you know what I'm saying? Like, he was just teaching me how to do some moves on the dance floor, you know what I'm saying? And since then, like, man, like, it's been crazy. But I don't know if I still have it now, like if I still have it with me. But yeah, the Fat Boys was the first one. And since in those days, like the 1980s, we had MTV, and Run DMC was like the first music video that they ever came out on MTV. And I remember it just like it was yesterday when that came out. Oh my goodness, that was big. It was huge for MTV back in those days. Like, who remember MTV when they only show is music videos? What the hell happened to music videos now? But anyway, so that was my first introduction to rap, was the Fat Boys. Since then, I was listening to LL Cool J, Beastie Boys, my favorite rap group of all time, Eric B and Rakim, Too Short, Slick Rick, Dougie Fresh, who else I could think of? MC Light, Audio 2, Nice and Smooth, Father MC, that was back in 1990, K Solo, D Nice, BDP, Roxanne Shante, MC Shannon, who else I can think of from back in those days? NWA, Eazy-E, Ice Cube, Ice-T. No, I'm trying to see who else did I listen to from back in those days, though, back in the 80s. JJ Fab, 357, Kid and Play, Salt and Pepper. And let me see who else. Kwame. Who else of a rapper I can think of from back in the 80s? Special Ed. Oh shit. Who else? Damn. Like, I know rappers from the 80s, it's just I'm trying to think of them. Ghetto Boys. Them too. Willie D, Scarface, and rest in peace to Bushwick Bill. Rappers I can think of. Alright. Damn. Snoop Dogg, Pac, Biggie, always. Just damn, so many rappers that I can think of that I listened to from back in those days. And even Yo MTV Raps. Oh my god, Yo MTV Raps. this was a competition. Yo MTV Raps versus Rap City. And let me tell you, Yo MTV Raps all the way. It's more exciting. It's more appealing. And Fab Five Freddy, man, he is the pioneer of hip hop. He really, really is. And this is the dude that started the whole hip hop movement. He interviewed all the hip hop stars, man. Like, big shout out to him though. But yeah, Yo MTV Raps was that show back in the late 80s. Oh my God, like that show was hot, it was new, and it was fresh. Rap City, however, like I just wasn't too exciting about it. You know, it just, what stands out about the Yo MTV Raps is like it's real and it's in your face. And these hip hop artists are real, you know what I'm saying? Like they speak their mind, especially Ice Cube, Eazy-E, and all those guys, you know what I'm saying? Like when they speak, you know. Rap City, on the hand, I don't know about Rap City. But yeah, like that was my first introduction to hip hop. And to this day, I still love real hip hop, not this fake garbage hip hop that's out now, but real hip hop. You know what I'm saying? And oh yeah, a side note. Who remember the box? Or back then what they called the jukebox. Who remember that back then? When you have to call that phone number and then just say, yo, I would like a request. Can't you play that music video again? And those calls was like what, $2 a minute. Who remember that channel, y'all? Let me know. The box was crazy. Oh my God, I remember that. The box. Oh my God, that is so late 80s to early 90s, man. Oh my God, when you get the call in and requested a music video. Oh my goodness, like that takes me back. That literally takes me back to those fun days, man. The box. Crazy. Oh my goodness. That takes me back. Oh man. Alright, so I guess that's it for episode 2 of Throwback Memories. I will be doing this episode 3 of Throwback Memories. But until then, leave some love. Hit that like button, sub, and if you like my videos, give it a comment. So holla at your boy. One, peace.